The promised last piece on the Break My Fall EP, the one in particular I've been noting for a while, I've been waiting for. Though not to undercut its two predecessors on release date, and I know when you look at the album track order, or the EP track listing, those would be considered subsequent releases, but yet they debuted first. And both were, of course, quite advantageous. I knew they would be, given my extensive Dead by April familiarity, or perhaps with the collaborative guests to some respects, although in most cases, actually in the case of both numbers to different extremes, we were dealing with fresh initiation experiences, which you know I love taking whenever it concerns the European metal and rock foray. I love when there's those exploratory paths provided to me, and maybe likewise you yourself. And maybe you're somebody approaching again on that initiation status generally with Dead by April, or maybe you've heard the name but you haven't dug deeper. I do hope for that in how we approach music in terms of a mutual enjoyment experience, which I've said for a long time, it's best enjoyed collaboratively, I find. However we approach, irrespective to that, if you happen to be a longtime fan like myself in some respects, or in other cases, initiation witness, maybe where you said we're taking a parallel journey through, in this case, generally on this channel, but maybe with some exceptions where necessitated and as declared, generally fresh initiation status. We're about to experience Break My Fall together, the piece that I've been looking forward to for ever since the sample was released in terms of the opening promo. Ever since. There's just something about the mood on this one, the key, really stuck as a piece. It sounds so traditional to Dead by April's voice, the one that I've been a fan of since it would have been shortly after Let the World Know's debut. It was somewhere after that point. Probably not much later from the album's release, to be honest with you. About the years, I forget. Anywho, it's been a while I've been following them. One of my earliest entrances into the European rock and metal world, and one I spend quite a time in now, specifically on fresh initiations. And like the two predecessor releases from the Break My Fall EP, there is that access with this number to a name that I'd not heard before, but is somebody of prominent regard, understandably, if you've witnessed any of his social media clips, which now I've taken a look at a couple of them, notably on Instagram, and the guy is a competent performer on athletics, one that puts me to shame. I think back to my early martial arts days, and I would not be able to stand up in any way to Samuel Ericcson. There's a lot of potential with this guy, whether it be in a workout respect or as well vocally. And as I understand, based on group promos or his on Instagram, some little slight snippets of a song that we've gotten a good window to. So maybe I'm not going this completely fresh. I couldn't help myself. I've been waiting for this one again since it was first announced that the EP was coming, and we did get the tracks in reverse order, which was fine. I've liked both the predecessor numbers. In particular, the new voice that's being employed of Dead by April, it feels like a bit of an expansive deviation from familiarity or building off of their roots. That's still clearly voiced, which is so charming, but again, we get a slight evolution of everybody coming in. Whether it be on Hurricane or Feeding Demons, both of those numbers had some form of a unique facade employed. Break My Fall will probably follow a path on expectancy. I mean, I already know at least the vocals from Samuel Ericcson are going to produce that effect, but with Dead by April's voice, again, that sample, I got a core wind of their work. It's just embodied so well with the number. I can only hype it up for so long, right? Let's jump in together. What we're going to do on initiation status, and finally I get to listen to Break My Fall for myself. I've been waiting for this opportunity for a while. You know, that's what music produces for me in terms of a tantalizing entrance, especially again when we have that initiation path, or if we get to enjoy pieces again, irrespective to personal vantage point. Maybe you've heard Break My Fall in advance. I don't know when this is going to get up. I'm going to try to have it as soon as possible published for you, but maybe we're approaching differently, that you're an informed listener where I'm the initiate, in particular with this specific work, or you're taking a similar path to me in every respect, and maybe even just on Dead by April familiarity, this will be your first entrance, and maybe perhaps as well your first footing into the European rock and metal world. I speak of it highly with good reason. Every artist so far that I've explored there has been an advantageous detour. Dead by April is obviously no exception, though I have a more extensive history with the group by comparison to other European talents that might be appearing generally on initiation witness status. I have plenty of faith in these guys that they're going to deliver. I'm sure once you experience this, you'll be motivated to go down that path as well for yourself and explore their works, and I would recommend it. Dead by April, beautiful talent to humor, and Samuel Ericcson already has a unique touch on what he's going to bring into the song. One that I'm excited for the conclusion. Break My Fall automatically again. It was teased well. Let's consider it together. At long last. I've been waiting, but here we go. You and I together. First introduction to Break My Fall. Already, that's explicitly Dead by April. The keyboard balancing with the harder roots, it's a perfect mesh. Is this that AI art style? Yes. Oh, this is great. The synths here are really charming. There we go. There is such a core Dead by April root on this one. I love it. Visually, it's a perfect match. That's a great number. Real highlight on the EP. I can see why they saved it for last. I was wondering if they were going to evolve on that chosen pitch. The repetition was fine, but I'm here sensing that climb incoming. It's fantastic. The synths here are really tight, but it's working. The accelerated beat placement, good choice. Nice differentiation, it's so subtle. It's quick, and here's our wrap up again on consistency, but oh, I like this one a lot. I knew that one would impress. It's a boastful number and it has every right to be. Quite adventurous, and to some extent gives, in the spirit of Break My Fall as an EP, new life and unexpected changes of perception to an evolution to Dead by April's voice in some way. Consider, for example, maybe going forward, and they're not the first talent to do this. I'm seeing ready intersection, specifically in the European rock scene for rock and metal, on the grounds of AI immersion, which I might have a critical opinion of AI as a technology, but I've said before that I will allow it to be of positive opinion when it's utilized in the music space and perhaps limited into that atmosphere specifically. I like the intermixing here, by the way, between, and we haven't seen this yet, to my knowledge. Usually when a group chooses to employ the AI design, it's not true. Amaranth, this was the case as well with Damnation Flame. It's generally, from the numbers I've surveyed that have employed the AI look, and you know it when you see it. It's usually of isolated presentation, and this is true, let's say, from other examples. Never Obey Again, Within Temptation, or even ones outside of Europe with Set the Sun. Amaranth, now that I think about it, it's an exception, with an intermixed live-action presentation of a band performance, or as well, to credit him fairly, Samuel Ericcson spliced through, with, again, that sometimes subtle intrusion on the live-action side. So there's this natural intermixing with a number I really find unique on personality, but then sometimes you get those grandiose images of, again, familiar AI constructions. Which is interesting. Again, I'm warming up to it as an artistic language, for sure, independently. I'm already warmed up and engaged with music, but AI it's a growing phenomenon. But it's making these visualizers we experience from many European talents quite interesting. And again, independent. Though maybe, again, we have some international intersection occurring, maybe ones I haven't even gotten to yet, where there's other groups that are trying this out on voice. This still, man, I don't want to overlook the first two pieces, again, when we speak about the score here, but I knew with Break My Fall, and I suspect this would be of mutual opinion, that sample boasted such a fun listen, and one that is very reminiscent to earlier Dead by April roots. I sense it, though again, there's an evolution. Not just with Samuel Erickson's, Ericcson, I might be getting the pronunciation slightly wrong, and forgive me again, it's very much a first discovery and declaration offered here. I love first initiation witnesses whenever we get them, and that was quite adventurous to Dead by April's voice, so not the first time we've seen it. Consider, for example, as well with Break My Fall, we had those hip-hop-like paced vocals with, I forget his name at the moment, but on Hurricane. He was one of the corresponding artists there besides Dead by April and The Day We Left Earth, but we already saw that break, and it worked there too. It was just different. I'm like, that's not Dead by April normality, and yet the genre intermixing is so natural for them. Specifically with Break My Fall, I love everything we get here. The vocal mixture, whether it be Pontus or Christopher, the unclean and the evolution too. You get with the, what line is it? Me there, the frequent repetition. You're hearing that descent on the vocals, but in the back of your mind, if you're me, you're like, I sense an incline incoming. Though you think it's going to be in the melodic, because that would naturally follow tracking of the number. But I'm fine with it being a subversion of my expectations. And again, that's a phrase that's oftentimes used in the negative, but I use it positively, generally within music, because it always impresses me. But to change it instead to an unclean inflection, I like. Again, somewhat on initiation, it's a fun disorientation. But it keeps you on your toes with a number that is quite, as I said, adventurous and boastful. I really like the command on this one, and it's at the same time both inspirational, motivational, and tragic. It's all three. It's a good intermixing, though, again, on the story, and a perfectly resonant message that Dead by April and so many other groups, again, why I gravitate naturally, and I have for many years, and it was my early initiation bridge, in fact. Metal offers such open, unapologetic catharsis, and it has that resonation with a real human touch. But Dead by April, I readily see with their work. I love exploring it, in particular for that reason, because their numbers have an appreciable depth to them. Whatever you're looking at, again, on vocals, on narrative, or on music, I love the mood of this one, and the synth inclusion is perfectly balanced. It might be fun again when we get to the harder heavy metal roots with Dead by April's voice, and that's used so well here, and again, blended with a perfect key. Melancholy, but exciting too. I love that choice. And again, I humored plenty of repeat listens as well, considering of those earlier samples. I couldn't get enough of hearing it, because I knew ever since the initiation tease, Break My Fall was going to be the one that was really something special. I can see why the EP is named after it. It's my favorite of the group, though, to be fair, all three are quite great, and you normally understand I hate to rank things, but this is the one in particular I was most excited for. I can already tell on every repeat listen I'm going to give this piece, and it's going to be quite a number, it's going to impress me all the same. Just as much as it does here. It's a real crowd pleaser of a number. Again, I come back to the synths, and the lighter touches, the range of the synths too. And I've said before, electronic music, it took a bit of a transformation of opinion on, because I remember back to early initiation, Dead by April was one of the first experiences I had on exceptions that I preferred, because normally I was a bit more critical with electronic music, especially more, for me, electronic music has to have some sort of a melodic backbone. It has to register as music and not just like a bunch of strung together EDM beats independent of a musical voice. And we've explored plenty of mixtures in this together, notably of the European origin, where we've seen plenty of exemptions come up. Not just of Dead by April, but many other credits. And some of our favorites like them again on early initiation before I brought music on in terms of presentation focus here. That one really is a perfect number in my opinion. Its drive is just so much fun. Instant engager. To whatever extreme you know with it, and there's a lot to take in with Break My Fall, but it's a fun piece, great video to complement. I love the performance chic, and with the AI blend, it feels fresh, different, just as Break My Fall does as an EP generally. It's a perfect tie-in. But the collection as a whole really was something special. Even with fresh introductions, right? To some of the other credits, whoever the one vocalist was, I forget the name of it at the moment, on Hurricane, or Self-Deception of Feeding Demons, Samuel Ericcson as well. It's always fun to initiate with new names and explore around, and with European metal, you get that so readily offered to you. I speak of that space quite highly, understandably, if you're familiar with it, and you've taken that deep dive with me. But Break My Fall, what a fun witness. I like that one. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on it too. Whether, we share or depart on opinion, of course, music is a subjective art. I'd love to hear what your independent thoughts happen to be, and your vantage point if you wish to offer it. Longtime fan, first listener to Dead by April, and maybe Samuel Ericcson as well, like me, what'd you think about it? I think it's a real highlight off the EP, like each piece is, but Break My Fall in isolated standing really is a charming number. I can see exactly why I've been anticipating this for so long, and that anticipation was satisfied even beyond what I thought it would be going into. It's a great number. Instantly clicks, immediate re-listen. I cannot wait to humor it again. And whatever comes in the way of Dead by April next, I'm really excited to hear more from this. Break My Fall does represent a slight evolution. And it's fun to dig back with the familiarized roots, and those are still readily available with any of these numbers you consider on the EP, but there's been a fun voice that is quite fresh, and originality expressed. Maybe in part because it is, in fact, given the collaborative model. That's probably where you have to register a lot of responsibility, but I am looking forward to the future. I always do have Dead by April. I love highlighting their work as I do any artist here, but Break My Fall is a quite honorable piece. Even better to share in the experience of all of you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.